Google is spending billions to plug its models into anything with a screen. Amazon just quietly committed $11 billion to build its own power grid in Indiana. Same AI race. Completely different bet. Hey friend, it is Monday, December 22nd, 2025. The theme today is simple to say and painful to ignore. AI is no longer about models. It is about who owns the power and the data to feed them. Let me start with Amazon. Amazon is building an $11 billion, 2.2 gigawatt data center campus in Indiana with its own power plants. That is not a data center. That is an AI power utility. Here's the important part. If Amazon controls generation, transmission, and GPUs, then its AI margins are not at the mercy of local utilities or future energy shocks. For you, this changes the game in a very concrete way. If you build on Amazon, you are buying into a future where your biggest cost line, inference, is being vertically compressed. If you do not, you are betting that your favorite cloud or your own racks can keep up with hyperscalers that now print their own electricity. Investors love to talk about AI moats. This is the moat that matters. Who can keep the GPUs on when the grid starts blinking? Right. Let me tie that to the US compute picture. The US controls about 74% of global AI compute. China sits around 14, Europe under 5. Everyone loves to debate model weights and open versus closed. The quiet truth is that AI strategy is turning into energy and industrial policy. If you are building in the US, you are sitting on the compute Saudi Arabia. If you are not, your path probably runs through American hardware anyway, especially Nvidia, or through new regional players trying to catch up. The second order effect here is harsh. Frontier model will cluster where energy, fabs, and regulation line up, and everyone else will be downstream renting capability. Let me switch gears to the MIT result, because this is the other side of the same theme. MIT researchers say they can train AI to reason perfectly without showing it correct examples. No labeled data, no giant human feedback farms. Basically, they are poking a hole in one of the most expensive assumptions in modern AI, that you need massive supervised datasets to get good reasoning. If this holds up, data becomes less of a raw commodity business and more of a structure and objective design problem. That is huge for you if you are cash constrained. Instead of racing Silicon Valley on who can label more examples, you shift to who can set up better self correction loops, better environments, better unsupervised signals. In other words, energy and compute are centralizing, but learning itself might decentralize because you need fewer human labels tied to a few big platforms. Today's quote of the day is: there is not enough electricity to power all the AI GPUs. That is Satya Nadella on X. When the Microsoft CEO sounds like your local grid operator, you know what the bottleneck is. You can see that tension everywhere else in the news. OpenAI is now talked about as a top 2026 IPO candidate with an $830 billion valuation. At the same time, a new version of GPT reportedly crushes key benchmarks, and ChatGPT is launching an app store and an SDK. So you have a single company that wants to be the model provider, the app platform, and potentially a near $1 trillion public stock. Which, if you build on their stack, you get reach and speed, but you're also underwriting their pricing power over your unit economics. Then, underneath all of that, there is the hardware churn. Stanford and a US foundry hit a 3D chip breakthrough. An ex-NVIDIA billionaire is rolling out new AI chips after a China IPO. Everyone wants a piece of the stack, from wafers to app stores. Here's the funny thing. All the press is staring at benchmarks and IPO valuations, while the real constraint is whether the lights stay on and whether your model still fails 60% of women's health questions. Okay, I will leave you with this. If AI is condensing around energy control on one side and new learning methods on the other, where do you want to sit? Closer to the power plant or closer to the data and objectives that everyone else is training on? I am Teng Yan. This is Chain of Thought. Have a tip or a story I should cover? Send it my way. Cheers. See you tomorrow.